Hey guys, Alex and Dad from 7th Hour Films back again with Doctor Who Classic. Last time around we had Remembrance of the Daleks. What happened on that one?
That is perhaps one of the top 5 in the entire 25 years we've been watching now.
Yep.
The Doctor and Ace, brand new companion, land literally like the day after the first Doctor and Ian and Barbara and Susan took off. The Daleks have come back to this time because there is some kind of war going on. We've got the Imperial Daleks and the Rebel Daleks, and there's a weird little, Children of the Corn kid who apparently is working with the Daleks. And the scientists and the police actually, once the Doctor says, hey, you don't know what you're dealing with here, they all let him take over. And ultimately, of course, they meet up with Davros,
yeah,
who threatens to blow up everything, and apparently the Doctor reprograms the missile and it goes back and blows up Skaro by igniting their sun or something. Anyway, but it was, I thought, overall very good. Well, and first of all, Ace is a wonderful companion. Like I said, kind of a cross between Leela and Romana. So just a lot of fun. Truly enjoyed it.
Yeah, so, but yeah, it was good. Probably the best one we've had in many seasons. It was nice. It got to the point. It got to the action. It was exciting. It was interesting. It was a good location. And probably something I thought later that probably helps is it keeps Davros until the end.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing because I think they ran out of things to do with Davros. We had him doing some weird experiments or something in that 5th Doctor episode, and then he was underneath the morgue planet in the 6th Doctor episode. And honestly, it's a thing of like Dalek episodes stopped being about the Daleks and started being more about Davros. But again, there's not a ton of things you can do with Davros because he just wants to take over the Daleks again, basically. So I'm glad that they saved that, and it was more about the Dalek Civil War, his Imperial Daleks and the Renegade Daleks, and trying to get the Hand of Omega, all in this very interesting setting with 2 interesting leads. So,
and some really cool special effects. The landing of the ship. The fact that they blew up a bunch of Daleks, and had a lot of green goo inside them.
Yeah, so overall, it was just a really good, probably one of the best Dalek stories. Yes. So today we're on to the Happiness Patrol.
Oh, this does not sound good.
Yeah. I don't know. See, I was going to say, I've heard good things about it, but then again, I never know for sure. And half the time when I say, oh yeah, the fandom really likes this, I end up being just, 180 degrees in the wrong direction on that one, so I have no idea.
Well, unless this is, somebody who's trying to enforce happiness on everyone, it's a horrible title. Happiness Patrol.
Yeah.
All right, let's hope it's better than its title.
Well, yeah. It's a strange one. It's 3 parts, so that's already a plus, because if it's not a good story, then there's only 3 parts of it. But I have no idea about this one, so you got anything else?
I got nothing.
Then why don't we just go ahead and see what's up with the Happiness Patrol.
Glenn Curry. Don't recognize that name.
I think someone said it's like all new writers from here on out.
Yeah.
It's a place, a secret place, where some of us go to indulge our depressions, to share our miseries with other killjoys like you and me.
I'm not a killjoy.
That's what
Sounds like
they call me.
YouTube.
But it says...
Happiness Patrol undercover. time to get really depressed.
Oh no.
Have a nice day.
Oh, she wasn't happy enough.
Where are we, Professor, anyway?
A planet, an Earth colony, settled some centuries in your future. Do you like it?
No.
No, neither do I. Why not?
Too phony. Too happy.
It's very gloomy, doesn't look happy.
Yeah. You know, this feels like a Batman story.
This way.
Oh no.
Oh no.
We've got to put a stop to it, quickly.
How quickly?
Tonight.
Isn't this going to be dangerous?
Yes.
Right, how do we start?
First, we'll try and get ourselves arrested.
Oh, that won't be hard. Oh god, no.
Professor, look what they've done!
Congratulations and well played. Here is your prize joke. Did you hear about the Killjoy who won an outing with the Happiness Patrol? He was tickled to death. Enjoy it.
It seems like a modern sitcom.
You wanted to see me, Mum?
Just curiosity, Gilbert. I wondered what the Candyman had conjured up for us tonight.
It's a fondant surprise, Mum.
Flavor?
Strawberry.
Delicious. My favorite.
Reminds me of a line from the Rocky Horror Show. My friend's just a little brought down because when you knocked, he thought you were the Candyman.
It says here you have been found guilty of an ostentatious display of public grief. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Patrol!
Oh no,
So
Vincent
you
Price.
will be sentenced-
Oh, it's the gumdrop monsters from Omega, the first one. Oh, that's just, I mean, seriously.
It's a little too on the nose.
The Condor Supreme!
Seems like a very big waste of strawberry. I thought they were gonna like turn him into a candy, not just drown him.
I think he got a buzz out of that.
Shut up!
Holidays.
Rather a shocking experience.
Let me shut her up!
Save it, save it! Cameron, you're not good to me like this.
I want to nail those scumbags. I want to make them very, very unhappy.
Don't worry, Ace. We will.
That's one thing I like about this doctor. He can get very, like, I don't know, I guess violent.
What time do you call this?
What voice do you call that?
Tell me.
Yes.
Do you
I
bleed?
was wondering about your... Injured. You can drive.
And we are out of here.
Walk faster.
Yes, but this is fun. And look, they're happy about it.
Oh, I know this great song about this bloke and his girlfriend. And she drops the ring he gives her on the railway track. And when she goes back to get it, she's killed by the train. And he's really miserable for the rest of his life. Oh, it's fantastic.
Happy songs, eh? Songs about sunshine and furry animals.
Is there any music that comes from a harmonica that isn't melancholy and somber and sad?
Music about trains.
Meh.
I woke up one morning and I realised it was all over.
This sounds like a Taylor Swift song.
I've never heard a Taylor Swift song.
I haven't either.
Girl Sigma.
Oh, sort of musician.
No, I'm really a medical student, 5th year post-med psychology.
What does the Sigma stand for?
Stands for alien. All visitors are called Sigma.
You're traveling through the colonies.
Yeah, I'm on vacation, paying my way with music, but I sort of got stuck here.
It's an interesting planet from a psychological standpoint.
Yeah, we better go.
No, this way.
Welcome to the Candy Kitchen, gentlemen.
I'm sure the pleasure's all ours.
I do hope so. I like my volunteers to die with smiles on their faces.
I let this play through. I want to see if I recognize any of the names.
You know, if there's one thing about Doctor Who, it's that they do have really, really good actors that can act off of the most garbagey looking special effects ever. I mean, now granted, it's a very distinctive design. I clearly see what they were going for. It's an amalgamation of different candies.
Somewhere, second or third Doctor, wasn't there kind of a Alice in Wonderland thing where they had to go into a bakery or something? What am I remembering? They had to make pies or cakes or something. That kitchen reminded me of that.
Yeah, that might have been the Toymaker episode. That was part of the Toymaker episode, I think. Yeah, something like that, I would say. I don't know. This feels like they took Paradise Towers and then took more crack and then rewrote Paradise Towers. Because Paradise Towers is already a weird episode.
Yeah.
So having weirder on top of it is an interesting choice. But I mean, hey, you were right. The Happiness Patrol, they are enforcing happiness as best they can. See, now I don't remember if this is well regarded within the community or not. I don't know. This could be one where we're going to end up being completely wrong about it in the comments. I have no idea. It's very strange. But, I mean, I do see that this is kind of just like, I mean, it's like the internet in that it's ridiculous, you know, there's with this Happiness Patrol and you can't show, you had a public display of grief, therefore you are being strawberry boarded to death. And I see some of that. It'd be like if the internet thought it was happy. The problem is the internet knows it's miserable. It still just hates everyone else that's also miserable. Especially on Twitter. It's like, you can't be more miserable than I am, you know?
Yeah. I'm not on Twitter.
Well, yeah.
Now,
You're not
again,
missing much.
The heavily made up candified women doesn't bother me. All of the men obviously are second class citizens to the women. But the Candyman himself, herself, because it sounds like a female voice, although it said there's a male actor who was playing it, I think. It's not frightening.
No.
It is so ridiculous as to be not frightening. And there's so many other ways they could have done that would have been, all right, here's the Candyman, and yet it would be creepy. It was like Pennywise.
Or even like, it'd be hilarious if you had like you should walk into this kitchen. It should look like Candyland. Like there's candy, there's sweets everywhere, everything. Even like the oven is just like a marshmallow or something. It's like, it should be this most ridiculous thing. Have like the Grim Reaper walk out. Have him be the candy. That's funny at least, because that's like just this weird. And have him talk like deadly seriously with like a very deep voice about making candy. It sounds hilarious. And then, like if you have, I don't know, if there would be like a shot of like I don't know, maybe they're gonna send the Doctor into the oven. You have like a Grim Reaper like pointing, like then it becomes scary again.
Yeah.
Like, or even just a guy. I did not expect that.
Gumdrop robot.
Yeah, like we've had a lot of big goofy robots, but that one's, I don't know, there's nothing scary about it. Like you couldn't even do like a scary voice too. Like it's such a ridiculous design, and then it sounds, it has just this really deep, menacing voice. It's like it didn't even have that, so it's just like, I don't know about this. Or keep it until the end, keep it until like the end of the last episode. We finally see the Candyman, and it's big and goofy and weird, and then at least, I don't know about this one.
Bring out your dead.
And of course, the adhesive effect of carbonated H2O and citric acid. Lemonade to you.
Gilbert! Gilbert, they're getting away from here! You'll be sorry!
Sweet dreams.
That worked out.
Wait until we're in another section.
Why are you whispering?
There's tons of crystallized syrup above us.
Any sudden noise could cause it to collapse.
Not any noise, just certain noise.
That's reassuring.
Foreshadowing.
Happiness Patrol Section C, please stand by for the first stage of a routine disappearance. And don't forget, when you smile, I want to see those teeth.
I'm not really a teeth smiler.
She could do with a bit of sport.
Is anything gonna happen?
He can't. He has a prior engagement.
Where are you going?
Remember, Trevor, I asked the question.
Routine
It's amazing how he
number
did that.
500,005.
Created as you are out of glucose-based substances, your joints need constant movement to avoid coagulation.
What do you mean?
You're turning into a slab of toffee. I saw this at the planning stage, and then I realized what the solution was.
And what's that?
I forgot.
It's like a lot of scenes, but nothing like
no cohesive story.
Oh yeah.
Pull the trigger. End my life.
No,
Why not?
I can't.
Why not?
I don't know.
You don't, do you? Throw away your gun.
I feel like he does what Colin Baker wished he could have done.
Don't let the Happiness Patrol see you looking like that. A big smile, please.
Unstick me.
It is amazing how well that's trapped him.
So you trusted me then, Doctor?
But of course.
Very wise. I am a candy man of my word. But now our bargain is over. It's time to kill you.
I thought you might have said that. Oh well, here we go again.
No! Gilbert!
Oh.
Gilbert! Gilbert!
Well, that worked out.
I want to find out if there's an artist appearing in the forum tonight.
I'll just have a look at my list.
Her name's Ace.
I can't do anything till I find my list, now can I? Oh dear. Doesn't look like Daphne S went down too well now, does it?
I don't know where we're going, what's happening.
I hesitate to compare this to, Warriors Gate and Kinda, because those at least had some psychological underpinning. This is just crap. This is a load of crap.
It's many scenes. Like they wrote a lot of scenes, and then they they forgot like
story
to put them together. Like they just, it almost feels like, I don't know how many people are going to relate to this, but it feels like when you do an edit of a video and you get all your clips sorted, you film everything you need to film, and then you just chuck it all into Premiere. And in the side, you have everything. It's generally in alphabetical order that it's listed, and you have everything you need, and then you have the timeline next to it, and you start putting the pieces together, putting the puzzle together to make a really good video in an edit. But they just kind of took everything and just like scattered it in, and then they were like, all right, print it. It's just like there's no edit. Instead
of being compartmentalized like a waffle, this is more like a bowl of spaghetti.
Yeah. I hope that this is not well regarded within the fandom, because I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to hear the 50 comments saying, no, you're actually wrong about this because here's the deeper meaning. I'm going to tell you now, and you can leave those comments if you want. I am not going to care enough, because like I can't put my energy into this episode, into watching the episode, let alone having an argument. I'm not going to, because even if you have an argument that has the deeper meaning, like I can't like counter argue it, because there's nothing of substance in this. There's one thing that this episode has, and it's a really good performance from Sylvester McCoy. Now that's not unique to this episode, but watching him go around and like manipulating the snipers and his interactions with Earl and the Candyman and everything, all of that is really interesting. But there's not a story to go with it.
Yeah, there's chunks left out. The girl who was with Ace there, the first time she appeared, there didn't seem to be a backstory for her. It's like it's like they wrote a story, but again, now because they had to condense it into 3 episodes, they had to say, well, I'll just take this little piece out and that little piece out. But again, like you said, what you're left with is a jumble that strains to make sense. Because at this point, I'm not understanding it. There's no backstory as to why this planet is this way, other than Helen A just happens to like it that way. But what's her story? Why does she always want to be happy? Why does she hate being depressed? Yeah, it's just
because it's a human colony. There are many human colonies throughout the galaxy, but for some reason this one is 1984 presents Candyland, and like, where did the Candyman come from? Like, and I know sometimes we get crap for asking where things come from, which every time that happens, I feel like I lose brain cells because I'm berated for asking that question. But what is the Candyman? Why is the Candyman? Like, it's just like, because he's not just a robot. He is candy.
Sentient candy.
Yes. And he doesn't seem to, like, he carries out the executions, but he does genuinely seem to want to make candy. He even said, like, the only problem is he makes candy that the human body cannot process to the point that it kills them. In a sense, that's not malicious. I mean, it is malicious because he knows what he's doing and he wants to keep making those candies, but he's almost like, just sort of a mad scientist, but about candy instead of like like it's not Oppenheimer making the bomb, it's the Candyman making taffy that'll blow you up.
Let's just get this over with. I mean, seriously, this is one of the most dreadful things that we've ever seen. I know a lot of people like some of the stuff that we didn't like. What was the one with the literary characters?
That was the Mind Robber.
Mind Robber.
That one just kind of had like production issues. Yeah. Like the story itself still worked. You know.
Yeah.
It had a story.
I
don't get it.
What makes this all the much worse is that it follows one of the best episodes we've ever seen.
Yeah. Like, where we were saying, like, you know, like, that was the best episode we've had in, like, 5, 6, 7 seasons. And then we get this, and it's just like, and we're back. We're back to what is aptly named Classic Doctor Who. There's iconic Doctor Who, and then there's classic Doctor Who, and this is a classic episode. I don't get how they just haven't killed all of them.
Yeah.
Dreary clothes, turgid.
You're telling me Nitro 9 only gave it a couple of...
It just startled it.
Cuts and scrapes.
I mean, that thing looks good. Like, to their credit. That's a good puppet.
Oh, men.
I don't know why they put their budget into that instead of the Candyman, but... You know another problem? I can't tell if we're inside or not.
It's still the same old story. A fight for love or glory. A case of do or die.
The fundamental rules apply as time goes by.
He may have gone down into the pipes.
Excellent. We'll leave Fifi to deal with him. What was that?
Sounded like an A flat to me.
Harold, give me an A flat.
Eh?
No, A flat. Resonance.
Big Ace! Open even door!
Pencil and Gretel.
Blissful, isn't it, Doctor? Silence.
Aha, not quite. I can hear the sound of empires toppling.
And thanks to this lady in her fun gown, she can take out a loudspeaker playing music at 100 paces.
Don't know that you're allowed to use the term Muzak. It's copyrighted.
Ugh.
Close to the Candyman, were you?
I made him. He was born in the Candy Kitchen.
Whereas you came from Vasilip, if memory serves.
I was exiled from Vasilip. I brought his bones here in a suitcase.
Exiled, you say?
I made a mistake. I was working in the state laboratories. Without realizing it, I invented a deadly new germ. The disease wiped out nearly half the population.
Still, hardly your fault. Can't you just pack him up and start again?
Well, I guess now
Not
we know.
This time. He's better off this way. The Candyman's gone.
Long live the Candyman.
Will you be away? How did you get into my escape shuttle?
That's what I was saying. The captain let me in.
Who is it, Captain? Let me see him.
Goodbye, dear.
What are you doing there? You're supposed to be waiting for Fifi.
Really, dear? It must have slipped my mind.
Well, you got out while the getting was good.
Happiness is nothing unless it exists side by side with sadness. Two sides. One coin.
You can keep your coin, Doctor, and your sadness. I'll go somewhere else.
I always thought love was overrated.
Think I'll hang out here for a while, Doc. See if I can teach this planet the blues again.
Yes, thank you for giving them back to us, Doctor. The blues.
Oh, yes. There are no other colours without the blues.
Missed a spot.
Are they all right, Professor?
Happiness will prevail.
Well, nothing like a hugely heavy-handed ending. So if you didn't get all of this over the last 2.5 episodes, here, let us beat you over the head with it.
They clearly wrote the ending first. And then they wrote a lot of the scenes. And then they realized, oh crap, we have to film this tomorrow. And then, when they filmed, they realized, oh crap, this airs tomorrow. So they had to just throw it all together, and they were like, print it.
I have to tell you this. This reminds me of a true story. Right after Jaws came out, several movies tried to cash in on that. One of them was called Orca. And somebody was trying to make a film about killer whales. Which is, of course, the most incorrect thing, because killer whales are not killers. Yes, they do eat seals and things, but they're not like sharks. They're not going to attack you. Anyway, we sit through this entire film called Orca, and a friend of mine, as the last scene faded out just like that, literally stood up from her seat and yelled to, wasn't a crowded audience, but the entire crowd that was still assembled there. She just said, "What a piece of garbage! What a piece of crap!" And the entire place broke out in laughter and applause. That's what I'm thinking here. What a piece of garbage. What a piece of crap. That was, to me, given the fact that everything we've seen before, that is beyond the worst thing we've ever seen. There's stuff that we don't recognize that others do. But how do you defend that? There is no way to defend that, because it's amateurish. Right? The writing is amateurish. The direction and editing is amateurish. Again, the only thing that saves it are the fact that Sylvester McCoy and all the other people did the best they could with what they were given, but it was crap.
Yeah. I mean, I'm running through the worst of the worst in my head.
All right. Now, we didn't like the Celestial Toymaker because it didn't work, especially in the telesnaps. Isn't that what we watched? I don't know how much better that would have worked if we had been able to see even an animated version of it, because it was cliched. We didn't like Kinda. We didn't really understand it. There are people who've tried to explain it to us. We still don't get it. We didn't like Warrior's Gate for the same reason. There's several others that we've gone through that just went, yeah, okay, that's just not up to standard. That was insulting.
The problem, with Warrior's Gate, the biggest problem with that one was it was just boring. Warrior's Gate was so boring. Kinda was kind of the same way. I mean, it was kind of the same. I guess it was more confusing than it was just boring. Warrior's Gate was boring. And the Celestial Toymaker, which half of that is because of the recons, but that was also boring. This, I'm just like, I feel it does feel like it was 4 episodes and they took away about 25 minutes from those 4 parts to get it down. But those 25 minutes were very necessary. They were like writing 101, how to connect scenes and how to make things make sense. And this is the most minor thing. The husband, Joseph C., apparently he was ready to rebel at any point and just ditch her at any point. I never got that from anything in there. Like Gilbert, sure, I guess, but the husband is just like, yep, I'm abandoning you because you're, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And it's like, I get that. I get that because I'm watching the episode. You seem to have drank the Kool-Aid, though, so it's just...
And again, it's just based on... And again, it's not just because it's following one of the best things we've ever seen. You can go back and look at some of the other scripts. Nothing was as amateurish as this script. Even with all of that stuff added, even if they had done another episode where they explained all of it, it's not up to standard. I do not understand. Now, is John Nathan Turner in charge now?
Yeah.
How did this script get past him?
I don't know.
Were they, I mean, seriously, was it, like you said, was this a last minute thing that they couldn't get anything else? Because as anybody who had any long-term contact with the Doctor Who series would have looked at that script and said, no. Okay? There's not much of a way that you could have saved this. You know, even making the Candyman scarier doesn't save you from the fact that it's still a stupid idea.
The Candyman served no purpose to the plot at all.
No.
Like, I don't know why they spent so much money to make that suit for this poor person to be inside of for multiple scenes. When there's no purpose, you could just say, well, she has control of the pipes. Like, there's no other purpose for the Candyman's existence. He's just kind of there, and he keeps getting thwarted very easily.
Yeah.
There's also the pipe people.
Never really explained where they came from.
Well, they kind of said like they're the natives of this planet who were pushed down into the pipes because the humans came and settled. That's it. They don't do anything else, really. Like, there's
no explanation other than, you know, what do they want? How do they live? What is their culture? You know, what's their function? It just, I mean, none of this makes sense. This is strictly amateur. This is worse than fan fiction. All right, this is worse than fan fiction.
I'm gonna look up and make sure people don't like this. Because hang on, alright. Happiness Patrol reviews, maybe. Okay, good. Just quickly, like I found a couple negative reviews on like review sites, but the third thing when I googled Happiness Patrol reviews, the third thing I found was Reddit. Now that's a double-edged sword, but the Reddit post I found was specifically called "I don't want to hear anything about the poor writing of season 24 because oh my god that was awful." And I agree, because I've seen people say that season 24 was pretty poor, and I was like, I don't know, man. I've seen some poor episodes in my time. I thought, you know, so what all was that? That was Time in the Ronnie.
The original Ronnie episode was pretty good.
Yeah. What came after that? Like, what can't I remember? Let me go look real quick. Delta and the Bannermen I thought was fine. Paradise Towers, and then we had Dragonfire. I thought those were all fine.
Yeah, I mean they were. Yeah, but they're not stellar. They're not some of the best of. But yeah, they were watchable. But
I don't get it. Why was there a guy playing the harmonica for so long? He said he was a medical student, and that never came back. Why didn't you just make him a musician?
Yeah.
He's just on vacation.
Yeah.
He's getting through. I mean, to be fair, if he's a medical student, obviously he doesn't have any money anymore because he's all of that is in student debt. But still. So I get having to play music to fund a vacation. But why is he staying here? He has to go back to school at some point.
And all right, another minor point. Towards the end, a lot of the Happiness Patrol were taking off the wigs and everything, but Susan Q, or whoever it was that they rescued, kept hers on. I mean, where does that come from? Was Helen A, was that her actual look and she made everybody look like her? You know? There's so much that is unexplained.
Yeah.
It's like the writer put that in there, but the director never once, or the script editor, or, you know, the producer, never looked at that and went, this doesn't make sense. Can you explain this to me? And the guy just said, oh, I just put that in there because I liked it. It's like, okay, dude, you're fired. You know, Mr. Curry, go back wherever you came from.
Yeah.
Graham Curry, seriously, I do not understand.
It was a big swing and a miss. And just because I remember someone sent me a thing on Twitter that it was like, I think it was like the script editor. I think it was Eric Soward.
Yeah.
He had like a thing talking about Pip and Jane Baker, who have wrote a number of stories. And I think it was why he, like, I don't know, maybe it was someone else, but it was someone who left Doctor Who because they hated every last thing that Pip and Jane Baker wrote. And, like, I don't know if this was, like, in a magazine or a book or something, but it was, like, you know, the unintellectual dribble that these two, like, just saying they're the worst writers of all time. And it's like, well, I'm glad you didn't stick around for this guy, because, oh my god. Like, and I can't remember what stories they wrote, but I thought a couple of them were fine. I think they did write, like, The Twin Dilemma, which is a bad half of the reason that episode is bad is just because it's boring. The other half is just because they didn't know what to do with Colin Baker in that episode. But, like, this, I don't get it. I feel like I fell asleep halfway through and I woke up and I just, like, I missed half of the plot and I'm trying to figure it out. But I didn't. I was awake. I was drinking caffeine the entire time. Y'all saw it.
Okay. Now, here's the only thing that I can even vaguely make sense of. If this was written as a Colin Baker story, because, you know, he wasn't really a happy type doctor, that you now have, perhaps they were trying to go for the contrast between the I don't want to say he was nasty, but, you know, he was not a happy person, not at all a happy person, and then contrasting that with the forced happiness of the Happiness Planet. But even that makes no sense, because then you rewrite it for Sylvester McCoy, who is a very, I don't want to say he's happy, but he's very lighthearted. You know, he's just got a completely different demeanor about him, and to shove him into this story, it makes no sense whatsoever.
You know, another thing, the Doctor was never in peril at all this episode. Like, he was always in charge of what was going on, like, even, like, Trevor Sigma, like, just completely reversing that guy and everything, and it's like, I don't know, and I like, you know, like, the moment where, like, he manipulates the snipers into, you know, putting down their guns and stuff, like, that was interesting, and it's like, but, I don't know, there was nothing, like, I don't get it.
It was so bad that it's confusing to try to talk about it because it doesn't make sense. Beyond everything else, it doesn't make sense.
It feels like I turned up the playback speed on Amazon. Like, I think that's a feature. I know it's a feature on YouTube and, like, Netflix and stuff. I think it's a feature on here. It's like I needed to turn the speed down, have this play at like 0.75, so I could not be hit with, like, the whiplash of every scene. It just keeps getting weirder. There was a revolution of 145 factories off screen by the guys from Monty Python, and that wasn't important, really. That was just a thing that kind of happened. But it's okay. It's okay, because the resolution of this episode is they brought the blues back to this planet. Even when going over, like, what's the villain's name? The main lady, what was her name?
Helen A.
Yeah, Helen A. When going over her thing of, like, she wanted everyone to be happy, and then she just became this weird, like, totalitarian regime. It's like if Russia was high all the time. I don't know. It was.
I wonder if her last name was Handbasket, because that's where this episode went, to Hell in a Handbasket. Hell in a Handbasket.
It's like if you took the regime of Stalin, but replace Stalin with the Burger King. It was like the weirdest thing. But going over like all of that, and it's just like, okay, now we understand, I guess, why she does all of this, but why? Like, you're a colony, you're an Earth colony. I don't get how this came about. What problems did you have as a child to where you thought, like, this is just how people work? I don't get it. Why did Gilbert M... I don't understand how he made the Candyman. Because he says, like, I made him. He was created within the Candy Kitchen. But he also said he smuggled his bones in a suitcase to this place where he then created him. That's two different things. Whose bones were these that you created the Candyman? Why did you make the Candyman? Why aren't you just the Candyman?
You're going to need to take a Quaalude, dude. So we're getting too worked up over about this. Wow.
So next up is Silver Nemesis.
And I'm just looking there right at the bottom. It says November 22nd.
1988.
1988. So, 25 years after the first episode?
Yeah. So, I also said with this episode at the beginning, I was like, this looks like a Batman episode. Like kind of in that sort of Tim Burton-y aesthetic, or even like Batman the Animated Series. And I feel like I kind of want to see that, because Batman has a plot and Batman has Batman. Even the Doctor was kind of acting like Batman for a little bit, but that could be kind of interesting as a Batman story. This was just weird. I mean, you have to write a story, and that's the problem. They wrote scenes, they didn't write a story.
Yeah.
Is the next one... The next one's also 3 parts, so... I'm glad... There's a part of me that's glad this was 3 parts, because I don't have to watch a 4th part. I don't have to watch more of this. I don't know. I'm hungry.
Let's go get lunch.
I'm exhausted. We're done. That's it. Goodbye. The end screen will come on now. I'm like brain dead at this point. The links are on screen. They're in the description. We're going to come back next week. I don't want to hear anything about this episode being brilliant in the comments. See you next time.
With all that being said.